Here I have the top 8 Alliance War attackers for the Cosmic class. Normally it's 10. I did 8 because, frankly, the Cosmic class isn't that good for attack. Well, it is, but there aren't that many in it that are very strong. So 8th is Venom. He has anti-evade versus Spider-Verse, which is really good. All this other stuff is kind of gravy. Armor break on the heavy, immune to power, burn, and drain versus Tex, and obviously all these damage things with his genetic memory. But he's a good champion. Probably would assign once every couple wars, but he's not that big of a deal. 7th is Hulkling. He's immune to all these lovely things, mainly every single power modification besides Power Lock, as well as Shock and Poison, which is really, really good for a lot of nodes, especially that left side, which is path 3, especially. Pierce buffs from hitting block with a shapeshift charge. You have to remove one to get that. Pretty standard. Oh, he's also unblockable when you hit 5, which is pretty cool. Massive damage cycle. You just want to ideally put the Pierce buffs up, ideally put aptitudes up, drop an SP2 for a couple massive Furies, and it can also intimidate on heavy. Basically, Hulkling is just a very controlled champion, has a lot of buffs, has solid power gain, and hit the opponent, drop a special 2 with power backs, probably just combo drop another SP2, and so he's good at what he does. He's one of those champions who's very solid at any matchup, but like, why would you want to? He's more so just incredibly potent at the matchups that he is very, very good at. But he's good everywhere, except for, like, damage over time or whatnot. And speaking of damage over time, Angela, absolutely phenomenal champion. The way that she deals with damage over time debuffs is very unique in that it's not an immunity and it's not a shrug, so stuff that punishes either of those will not hurt her. When she is awakened, she reduces the duration of damaging debuffs, the chance to nullify, and the chance to auto block. Pretty awesome, if you ask me, and just a generally very, very cool ability. Synergizes very well with Odin. She hits hard, she has armor break on specials based on the number of buffs, and all this other lovely stuff that you can see listed below. Just a very, very solid champion. 5th is Odin, we just talked about him. He's a good quester, but he's not good in Alliance War attack. He's only good for his pre-fights, but his pre-fights are so good that I'll put him 5th on the list just for the pre-fights. That shock resistance is absolutely game-changing, and it allows some really, really insane matchups that you wouldn't be able to do without him. So even though you don't use him on attack, you do use him for the shock pre-fight, and that by itself, in my mind, makes him the 5th best cosmic attacker for Alliance War. 4th is Corvus Glaive, and here's where you get to the really hard hitters. So he hits incredibly hard. We all know Corvus. He's great for Legends runs and whatnot. Get to a special 2, throw it again. If they have max power, it drains 20% of their power, which kind of allows you to just mindlessly cycle special 2s with a power back boost, which is really cool. He's bleed, cold snap, and shock immune, similar to as in the last video I talked about Diablo. He just doesn't take damage from them. That's when his glaive is up only. I should have put that. When his glaive is not up, he will take damage from those. With the Proxima synergy, when you get evaded or auto-blocked, you can knock someone down, and then you'll have True Strike to prevent those abilities, and he can armor break on parry. 3rd is Galan. He's absolutely changed the game, the way that he just shuts certain matchups down. In Harvest, he has this massive burst of damage, and he also has immunities to Power Drain, Burn, Steal, Lock, and Nullify. He is actually immune to Stun and Harvest as well. That one's a little bit less used, though. He usually, you think of his buffs as a means of doing Harvest damage, but honestly, his energy and physical resistance is not low. So 44% at 20 stacks is pretty darn good. He has Incinerate damage on the special 2, and all these other things. He has the Herald pre-fight, which is minus 100% power burn potency off the bat. It's only can be applied to Cosmics. 7 to 35% damage over time reduction based on the number of fights won. So if you win 0 fights, 0% reduction. Win 5 fights, 35% reduction, that's the max. And at 2 victories, when your Herald kills 2 people as a Herald, unblockable special attacks, there is a 24-second cooldown on that, but you shouldn't be throwing specials into block more than every 24 seconds anyway. 2nd is CGR. Oh, I didn't put Bleed and Incinerate Immune here. He is insane. He hits really, really hard. He's Bleed and Incinerate Immune, which is huge, so I really should have put that. But he has tons of armor breaks. He just hits really hard. He removes buffs when he's awakened. He power locks and heal blocks when he's awakened. Power locks normally. Bleed immune, Incinerate immune, hits insanely, insanely, insanely hard, and locks pretty good. So when you have something like power back boost, special 2, and they're just gone. First is Hercules. I was one of the people who resisted Hercules for a little bit, even though I got him fairly early. I was like, yeah, Katie's better, Ghost is better. No. If you see an Alliance War, you know that Hercules is probably the best champion in the game, and it's not close. He hits insanely hard based on his feats of strength, especially, which can give him between 1 and 12 times 10% burst damage. So that's between 0 and 120% red damage based on his feats of strength and based on the damage of his hit. When he's awakened, he has immortality. He's unblockable and literally cannot die. And it pauses when striking or during specials. You can feasibly keep this up for 40 plus seconds, which is absolutely insane. He's stun immune at the cost of 1 feat of strength. Really high crit rate on the special 1. He has a true sense buff on the special 1 as well, and that actually triggers even if you don't land the special 1. He has an Infuriate debuff, which is really cool because it allows aggressive play and it makes him very good for Path 5 especially. If you've seen my channel, you probably know that. Increased combat power rate on the SIG. High SIG was really only where you see that big of a difference. But that's when you activate a feat of strength for 2 seconds. And on the SP3, he has a 4-second indestructible as well. That's not used that much, though. It's mostly for tanking specials, but it's more of like a niche utility, but it's definitely useful. So here are the 8. Again, there aren't that many good cosmic attackers, although the ones that are good, especially these top 4, are absolutely an insane set of champions. Like, you could use these 4 champions and probably clear at least 50, 60, 70, 80% of the map minimum. So that is the cosmic class. If you think that there are any snubs, I only did put 8, so if you think there are 2 that are worthy of being put on, please let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.